When it comes to sweets tied to Halloween, few things are more familiar than gummy candy. They come in all shapes, sizes, and bright colors that instantly grab your attention. For Americans, gummies carry a sense of childhood innocence and joy, bringing back memories of overflowing candy bags in endless variety. For generations, these chewy little treats made right here in the US have captured not only children's hearts, but also those of parents who can't resist the charm of those squishy bears. And now, let's head behind the scenes to see how they're made. Gummy candy is one of the most popular types of chewy sweets, famous for its tangy sweet flavor and bright, eye-catching colors. When people think of gummies, the brand that comes to mind for most is Haribo. It was this German candy company that invented gummy worms in the early 1980s, sparking a sugary craze that continues to this day. Today, Haribo's massive factory in Pleasant Prairie, Wisconsin, spanning more than 500,000 square feet, can produce up to 60 million gummy bears every single day. The facility also represents one of Haribo's biggest bets in its mission to win over the US market. Worldwide, Haribo now makes over 800 different products. And just last year alone, the brand added 2.6 million American households to its loyal customer base. Before Haribo can cook up its sweet batches of gummy candy, one essential ingredient has to be prepared far in advance, and that's gelatin. This is the key component that gives gummies their chewy, springy texture everyone loves. But this seemingly simple, clear powder actually comes from a complex industrial process, extracting protein from animal skin and bones. For Haribo, the supply of gelatin comes from Gelatin USA Inc., located in Sergeant Bluff, Iowa, a facility that provides the crucial foundation for the millions of gummy candies produced each day. Each week, the Gelatin USA Inc. plant receives about 20 tons of raw materials, including animal hides and bones, to fuel its gelatin production. When shipments arrive, workers carefully inspect the incoming materials for quality. The hides are then sorted and placed into separate containers. The hides go through a thorough washing process with water, while the hard bones are fed into a high-powered grinder that crushes them into small pieces. This step increases the efficiency of collagen extraction. Once cleaned, the hides move on to the alkalization stage. They're soaked in large vats filled with lime solution for 7 days, breaking down the collagen structure and softening the material. Next comes the acid treatment, where the hides are submerged in a diluted acid bath for about 10 hours. After the initial processing steps, the raw material is heated in water at around 160 degrees Fahrenheit. This process extracts gelatin from collagen by dissolving protein fibers and breaking the molecular bonds that hold them together. The resulting solution is rich in protein, forming the basis for the finished gelatin. As the collagen dissolves, it creates a thick, viscous liquid, similar to a concentrated broth, packed with soluble proteins and organic compounds. However, at this stage, the solution is still cloudy and contains many impurities, including undissolved solid particles. To achieve the clarity and purity required, the gelatin must go through a thorough filtration process. The factory uses an advanced filtration system with ultra-fine ceramic membranes capable of removing even the tiniest impurities invisible to the naked eye. Under extremely high pressure, the collagen solution is forced through filters with microscopic pores, separating out undissolved particles, excess proteins, and unwanted organic compounds. The result is a crystal clear collagen solution, completely free of impurities. Even after thorough filtration, the collagen solution still contains small amounts of dissolved salts and excess water. To remove them, the solution is passed through tanks filled with ultrafine synthetic resin beads that absorb the extra salts. At the same time, the high temperature inside the tanks causes water to evaporate, concentrating the collagen to its optimal level. After this process, the solution thickens to a honey-like consistency. The gelatin is then slowly cooled, transforming into a semi-solid state with its signature elasticity. Next, it's pressed through a plate with tiny holes, forming long strands similar to noodles. These gelatin strands drop onto a conveyor and are dried with sterile hot air, which completely removes moisture while preserving quality. Once fully dried, the gelatin is ground into a fine powder. When it's ready, the gelatin is bagged and shipped to candy factories around the world, including Haribo. Once the gelatin is ready, the gummy making process at Haribo officially begins. Each piece of candy is made from a carefully calculated formula. First, the raw ingredients are selected and weighed. While it may sound simple, the recipe is actually very precise. Sugar, corn syrup, gelatin, starch, and water, along with citric acid and malic acid for tartness, plus a variety of flavorings. Depending on the type of gummy, the formula may vary slightly, but the foundation remains the same. Every step is fully automated. Machines handle the measuring, with the control system displaying exactly how many pounds of each ingredient need to be added. Once the tank reaches the correct level, the valve automatically shuts, and the next ingredient is fed in right away, all happening seamlessly without human intervention. Once all the main ingredients are added, the mixture is cooked in massive industrial kettles at about 356 degrees Fahrenheit, using high-pressure steam for heating. As the sweet syrup begins to boil, some of the liquid evaporates, allowing the ingredients to fully dissolve. In just 5 minutes, the mixture transforms into a smooth, glossy liquid, which is then piped into a vacuum cooker to cool down to around 200 degrees Fahrenheit. At this stage, technicians use a refractometer to check the thickness of the solution. By placing just a single drop of the hot gummy mixture onto the glass, closing the cover, and looking through the eyepiece, they can read the bricks level, the exact sugar concentration of the batch. When the mixture reaches the desired sweetness and temperature, it's piped over to an area known as the color flavor additive deck. Here, the syrup is divided into smaller kettles where flavors and colors are blended in. This is the stage where the once uniform mixture is transformed into the bright, colorful gummies we all recognize. Originally, gummy worms came in just 2 flavors, raspberry and apple. But over time, the flavor lineup has expanded. Today, gummies are made in a wide range of colors and tastes, with some of the most popular being sour cherry, sour raspberry, and sour grape. Flavorings like banana and cherry are often extracted directly from real fruit. Altogether, Haribo now offers around 50 different flavors to satisfy the diverse preferences of consumers. While the kettles keep stirring the mixture, the molds are being prepared in another area. Many people are surprised to learn that gummies never actually touch metal molds. Instead, the liquid candy is poured into impressions pressed into a layer of white powder, cornstarch mixed with a bit of mineral oil. Different molds create different gummy shapes. For example, to make a gummy hand, workers simply flatten the cornstarch, press in a hand-shaped mold, and then fill the cavity with the liquid mixture. Cornstarch makes a much better molding material than metal trays, and it also makes it easier to remove the gummies once they've set. This process takes place in a machine called a mogul. First, the machine fills the mold trays with cornstarch, smooths out the surface, and then a metal stamp presses hundreds of shapes into the starch layer. When the stamp is lifted, the impressions remain in the cornstarch, ready to be filled with liquid candy. The flavored mixtures prepared earlier are piped directly from the cooking kettles into funnels mounted above the depositor. As the starch trays move underneath, a row of nozzles fills about 400 gummy shapes in a single pass. The system can fill 100 trays per minute, which adds up to 2.5 million gummies every hour, or around 60 million pieces in a single production shift. Once filled, the trays are stacked and sent to a curing room, kept at a steady 81 degrees Fahrenheit for 24 hours. During this slow resting phase, the cornstarch absorbs excess moisture from the candy, allowing it to firm up into its chewy, elastic texture. After the 24-hour curing cycle, the trays are removed from the room and returned to the mogul, where the gummies are separated. The machine flips the trays upside down, dropping both starch and candy onto a vibrating screen. Thanks to gravity, the fine starch falls through the mesh while the gummies are carried forward along the line. The cornstarch is then recycled back into the system, while the candies are gently tumbled in a rotating drum to shake off smaller or misshapen pieces. After being removed from the starch trays, the gummies are still coated in a fine layer of cornstarch. They're sent through a rotating drum system that brushes off the excess powder. Next, to give them a clear, non-sticky surface, the candies are placed into giant tumbling barrels that look a lot like cement mixers. Inside, they're coated with a thin layer of vegetable oil combined with beeswax or carnauba wax. This delicate coating doesn't just make the gummies shiny, it also prevents them from sticking together once packaged. Surprisingly, carnauba wax is the very same ingredient used in nail polish to add gloss and durability. The only difference is that in candy production, it's refined to food-grade quality, making it completely safe to eat. That's why the sparkling sheen of gummies on the store shelf actually shares the same secret as polished nails in a salon. From here, the gummies are randomly tested for color, shape, chewiness, and flavor. Any pieces that don't meet the standards are discarded, while select samples undergo melting and elasticity tests to ensure the final product lives up to Haribo's quality. From here, the gummies move onto a conveyor, gathered into batches on trays, and carried over to the packaging area. At the automatic weighing station, vibrating funnels guide the candies into place. Once the exact weight is reached, the portion drops into a clear plastic bag. Instantly, the machine heat seals the top, creating a perfectly finished package. Each bag then passes through a metal detector to guarantee absolute safety before being neatly packed into large cartons. The cartons are shrink-wrapped, loaded onto a palletizer, and made ready for shipping. From there, the pallets are moved onto trucks, sent to distribution centers, and eventually show up on the shelves of your favorite local stores. Thanks for watching Food Tech Today. See you again in the next episode.